Plateau State Governor distressed over Boko Haram killing of students hostage. Lagos State government alerts public to dangers of deadly new coronavirus. On the foreign scene, more U.S. troops leave Iraq as Trump downplays brain risk. And in sports, Minister of Sports Sunday Dare settles aggrieved powerlifters.
This is ANN News.
Video released by the Islamic State West Africa province in which there was a purported execution of a student hostage from Plateau Wapville Dabale. News Agency of Nigeria is reporting that the governor has released a statement in which he expressed outrage over the murder of the 22-year-old student of biology education at the University of Maiduguri. The governor is said to have described Daoyep's killing as a heinous act that was aimed at provoking sentiments that could lead to perceived hatred for people based on religion and origin. The governor has advised that the country should not allow the terrorist narrative to fester and cause disharmony among Nigerians. He described Boko Haram's ideology as misplaced and clearly a merchandise of evil. Lalong has reached out to the family of the deceased and has assured them of the state's government support through their time of distress. Boko Haram is also the topic of the story as the Anglican Archbishop of the province of Enugu, Most Reverend Emmanuel Chukwuma, condemns the terrorist group's killing of the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Lawan Andimi, in Adamawa State. Chukwuma described the murder as a horrendous act of killing. The Archbishop has called on the federal government to reassure church leaders and Christian faithful in the north of the security of their lives and property in the area. Archbishop Chukwuma also said 7 service chiefs who had, quote, overstayed in office and become irrelevant should be sacked. He also called on all Christians to intensify their prayers for God to deliver Nigeria from this present challenge and agony of sustained terrorism. Meanwhile, Roman Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Matthew Kuka, says he has never seen anywhere in the world where killers roam free like Nigeria. He said there was, quote, no place in the world where human lives are slaughtered anyhow without the perpetrators caught and brought to face justice like Nigeria, end quote. He said Nigeria must move from talking to taking action. The bishop was speaking at a peace conference in Abuja on Wednesday. Bishop Kuka had recently faulted the Buhari administration for what he said was sidelining of Christians in appointments. Christian Association of Nigeria President Reverend Samson Ayokunle, who did not speak at the conference, lamented that all previous interfaith dialogue yielded no fruit. More than 300 religious leaders attended the conference. The Lagos State government has decided to be proactive in alerting the public on a new virus, the novel coronavirus, which is currently wreaking havoc in China. It has also been reported in some other countries, including the US. At least 9 deaths have been recorded. State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, said in a statement, the coronavirus viruses are a large family of viruses that causes illness, ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases. He said this disease has not been previously identified in humans. The commissioner also said coronaviruses are primarily infections of animals that can be transmitted to humans. Abayomi said common signs and symptoms of infection include fever, cough, shortness of breath, and difficulty in breathing. The commissioner said more severe cases may exhibit pneumonia, severe acute respiratory syndrome, kidney failure, and even death. He calmed all nerves by noting that no cases of the virus have been identified in Lagos or anywhere in Africa, so there is no need to panic. The federal government has announced a commitment last week to allocate funds to support families of fallen troops and to increase the allotment of veterans and to those currently serving in the military. The announcement was made by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo during events marking Armed Forces Remembrance Day last week. Kelechi Mekalam was there.
A rush of excitement here as widows and families of slain soldiers receive relief materials. Life has been difficult for them. With their breadwinners killed in the line of duty, they are left alone to fend for themselves in a harsh economy. But these supplies would help to cushion the effect of the hardship.
Well, we know the economy of these days, the economy of our country today. It is not as fair as we know it used to be. And we know a bag of rice costs for about 24 to 25,000 naira. And getting a bag of rice for free at this time in 2020 is going to go a long way to sustain the family.
Since 2009, Nigerian soldiers have been confronting terrorist groups Boko Haram and ISWAP. Many have lost their lives in the battlefront, but their sacrifices have remained largely unnoticed. But things are about to change for the better, as government is set to implement plans that would enhance the lives of Nigerian soldiers living and falling.
This is the commitment that the federal government, through the president, has made to do better for our veterans and the families of our fallen heroes, and to improve the conditions of those we serve today. And we shall do so incrementally, making provisions in the annual budgets. And we do not and will not take our men and women of the armed forces for granted.
Efforts of men and women in the military has helped largely to restrain insurgents from taking over territories. And in a show of appreciation, individuals and groups have also pledged the continuous support for families of the fallen soldiers, especially to sponsor their children in schools.
Coming up, African stories. Libya's Haftar forces threaten to target civilian planes. And later, international news. More U.S. troops leave Iraq as Trump downplays brain risk.
Escalate in Libya. Forces loyal to the warring leader, General Khalifa Haftar, say they will target any civilian or military plane using the airport that serves the capital, Tripoli. A spokesman of Haftar's forces said this was a final warning as they accused Turkey of using it as a base from which to target the Libyan National Army. They had in the past fired rockets at Mitiga Airport, forcing the airport to close. General Khalifa Haftar for many months has been waging a major offensive at Tripoli so as to capture and take control of the city. Oil production has also been halted, causing millions of dollars lost to the country. International community has tried to intervene, urging both warring parties for a ceasefire and return to a better life. The Libyan conflict is now gnawing at the heart of the entire continent of Africa. The matter has become so urgent that it dominated the 33rd summit of the African Union. Koleta Wanjohi reports.
Reflecting on the year gone by, the outgoing chair of the African Union named a number of achievements. They included launching of the African Continental Free Trade Area and offering assistance to conflict-affected countries like Sudan and South Sudan. But the Egyptian ambassador to the continental body also highlighted some gaps.
Egypt particularly sensed that the post-conflict reconstruction and development has not been given the required attention, despite its critical importance in preventing relapse into conflict.
Looking to the year ahead, security on the continent was named as a priority for the African Union leadership.
Without peace and security, nothing can be achieved. So it's absolutely important to push forward on the process. Already we've seen signs of difficulties, even in West Africa, in parts of the Congo and Central African Republic, but in our view, the principal problem now is Libya.
The Commission has criticized external interference in Libya's political situation in the past 11 months. The UN-backed government of National Accord is fighting the rebel Libyan National Army that wants to take over the capital, Tripoli.
We need to secure peace and security in Libya because it affects migration, it affects the movement of arms down, it affects the stability of Niger, Mali, even Burkina Faso. And just trying to maintain some peace is so expensive. It takes money away from trying to provide for the socio-economic development of the continent.
These issues will be at the forefront of the upcoming summit. The theme for the African Union in 2020 is silencing the guns, creating conducive environment for Africa's development. The target is to find lasting solutions to the conflicts on the continent that continue to worsen the humanitarian situation. South Africa will take over from Egypt as the chair of the African Union this year. The country will be leading efforts to make the continent a more stable place in 2020.
Rwanda is quickly becoming a cashless society, but for some, the transaction has not been easy. With the cashless society becoming ever more a reality, regular citizens are saying the necessary infrastructure should be put in place to support those kinds of transactions. Here's a report from Rwanda Broadcasting Agency.
Unlike in the past when carrying cash around was the norm, Rwanda is quickly becoming a cashless society. But for some, the transition has not been easy. It's difficult because very few establishments have those machines that can read ATM cards. If, however, more shops had them, it would be much easier for us. Indeed, small shop owners say the cost of the machines, usually referred to as POS or point of sale, is in most cases far higher than the value of the merchandise they sell, which cannot justify buying them. Economic experts agree that some of the most challenging things digitalization faces in Rwanda have to do with the proper infrastructure to support it and a lack of knowledge by many to use it, while officials in the central bank say the answer to this is to use phones as the main tool in this endeavor, because that is something almost anyone can afford and learn to use. When you talk about those machines, you must also consider their costs. Let us say a bank wants to distribute 10,000 POS machines. Each costs $500, so it would require 5 million to do it. There is also the challenge of linking technology, like bank accounts to mobile money and SACCO accounts. We are therefore working on building that linking system to facilitate payments and services. Digitalization has been steadily increasing in the financial sector, up from just a 0.3% contribution to the country's GDP in 2011 and now at 34.6%, with the objective being to hit 80% in 2024. The country currently has 400 ATMs, 3,000 POS machines and slightly more than 15,000 locations where a person can use mobile money services.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. On the international scene, more U.S. troops have been flown out of Iraq for closer evaluation of potential brain injuries from this month's Iranian missile attack. It's unclear how many troops have flown to Germany this time is not clear, but 11 are known for sure to be undergoing evaluation at U.S. medical facility in Germany and Kuwait for concussion-like symptoms. President Donald Trump and other U.S. top military officials initially denied any fatalities or injuries from Iran's missile attack on its base in Iraq, but the Pentagon reversed course on Thursday to acknowledge some brain injuries as a result of the missile attack. U.S. Democrats are refusing any deal to allow the son of former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden to be called as a witness in the ongoing Senate impeachment trial. The Democrats have ruled out a witness swap with Republicans in the trial. Democratic lawmakers who are seeking to remove the president from office hope to hear testimony from his former national security advisor, John Bolton, and idea Republican senators oppose. House Democrats have up to 3 days to make their case as they present their argument. Trump's defense team will have 3 days as well for a rebuttal. Trump has been touting corruption claims against Biden, whose son Hunter held a lucrative board position with the Ukrainian gas firm, while his father was U.S. vice president and in charge of American-Ukrainian relations. Democrats accuse the president of using U.S. military aid as a bargaining chip in an attempt to prod Ukraine into announcing an investigation to discredit Joe Biden, likely to be his Democratic White House challenger. And UN experts are calling for an investigation into the possible involvement of the Saudi Crown Prince in phone surveillance of American and aerospace entrepreneur and president of Amazon, Jeffrey Bezos, who also owns the Washington Post newspaper. The United Nations says a WhatsApp account belonging to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was used in delivering spyware to Bezos' mobile phone in an effort to influence or silence Washington Post reporting on Saudi Arabia. The statement was released by two UN special rapporteurs, Agnes Callamard, who specializes in extrajudicial killings and conducted an investigation into the murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi, and David Kay, who specializes in freedom of expression. The pair called for an investigation into the allegations. Saudi Arabia denied on Tuesday it was responsible for any such hack. Prosecutors have portrayed Hollywood former producer Harvey Weinstein as a special predator who used his power to manipulate and sexually assault young women. During opening statements in the high-profile rape case, New York prosecutors accused Weinstein of committing violent attacks on aspiring actresses who suffered shame and humiliation as they struggled to deal with the trauma of the encounters. 67-year-old Weinstein has pleaded not guilty to the charges.
Up next, sports. Minister of Youth Sunday Dare settles aggrieved power lifters. Please stay with us.
Welcome back. This is ANN News and Sport. Nigerian Television Authority (NTA) will transmit all 6 matches in the next 2022 World Cup qualifiers involving the Super Eagles. ANN had reported Nigeria paired in Group C with Cape Verde, Central African Republic and Liberia will begin their campaign for a Qatar 2022 ticket against the Lone Star in the first week of October. NTA also added that other television networks and stations across the country would be encouraged to join the partnership to increase viewing opportunities for Nigeria. Minister of Youth and Sports Sunday Dare has called a reconciliatory meeting between board members of the Nigeria Para-Powerlifting Federation and athletes' representatives to resolve the ongoing crisis rocking the federation ahead of the 2020 World Para-Powerlifting World Cup next month. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Gabriel Aduda, has ordered athletes to proceed to the training camp in Abuja. Next month's World Cup will also feature junior powerlifters. That is ANN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Have a pleasant evening.